What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 102 on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. This is the Innovator Series, and today I welcomed a Miami artist. Well, he's actually from Miami. He's currently in Connecticut, going to the University of Connecticut. For football, his name is Freshman Year. He's an artist, but he's also a blogger. He has his own blog and Instagram called Block Party TV. He actually interviewed JBC Beats, who was on this podcast last June from Youngstown. So I actually discovered his platform through that, reached out to him, and I ended up getting interviewed myself for Block Party TV, which I thought was amazing. So I talked to Freshman Year today about kind of the inception of that whole idea of Block Party and just kind of how it came about, how he's aiming to help artists, mostly independent artists, people that are up and coming and really need, to have a voice, but also trying to build a community and really try and help one another, which I thought was incredible. We talked about his own music, how he started producing after his football injury that kind of sidelined him for a bit. That's kind of how he got into music, so he learned producing through YouTube and a lot of other things. Then he started laying his own vocals on his own tracks. We talked about his EP he put out in November called Last Semester. He also has another EP coming this summer with a lot of his close friends and collaborators, which I'm looking forward to hearing. Overall, man, Freshman Year, he's just my type of dude, has a great energy and great aura to him, and we both kind of share a similar, knack for just helping people and helping others with our similar situation. So I'm looking forward to, reconnecting with him very soon and staying in touch and in tune with what he's got going on. And I hope you guys enjoy this episode. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, welcome everyone to episode number 102 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. Today we have a really incredible artist and an innovator. Just connected with this guy, honestly, a couple weeks ago or 3 or 4 weeks ago now. He helps run Block Party TV over on Instagram. Freshman Year is here. How are you, man?
Bro, I'm doing well, man. Thanks for having me, bro. It's a privilege to be here, man.
No problem. I'm glad we could finally get it going. And to start off every episode, we have the guests give a bit of background. How long have you been doing music? What got you into it? And where your name came from, too, because I'm curious about that one. So really just basic information for those that might not know you and what you do.
So, man, I'm from Florida City, right, which is a small town right inside of Miami-Dade County, Florida. And my whole life I've been playing football. And I want to say in 2019, I got a pretty bad injury. I don't know if you're familiar with the meniscus.
Yeah.
I got a tear there. And once I tore it, I found myself in pretty much just a dilemma, okay, what do I do now? You know what I mean? And I was kind of depressing. I wanted something that would lift me up. I knew that, I was going to be away from my teammates for a while. And I just found myself being isolated. And I knew it wasn't healthy. And I knew I needed a better way to channel all the emotions that I was feeling. And, I grew up in the church. I heard people make music. I heard of people producing music, but never had I really taken the time to really, explore, because I had always been focused on football. Mm-hmm. And so because of the injury, I found myself, on my computer. I started watching the YouTube videos, and then next thing you know, I found myself buying Logic. And once I bought Logic Pro, I just fell in love with it, man. I just fell in love with it. And it was just like an everyday thing, I was doing rehab at the time. Before I went to rehab, I was on Logic Pro. After rehab, I'm on Logic Pro, just making beats every day. And then it just kind of evolved from there. Once you make a beat, you're like, oh, that's kind of fire. Hey, let me find some vocals to put on there. And I don't know, if you ever, go through the process of trying to find random vocals online. Like, it's not the easiest process. There's a couple, cool apps and websites they have out there, but I started to think to myself, what if I just put my own vocals on these beats? And, one thing led to another. 3 years later, I'm making music, bro.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing, man. It's crazy to think how, you didn't let that injury whole situation kind of get you down. You know what I mean? Like, you took that situation and kind of made something of it. You know what I mean? Because I think it probably would have been easy to kind of just get down on yourself and not really be able to pick yourself back up in that spot, because you're just so focused on football and everything, and then that ended up leading you to this in a way. You know what I mean? So something good did come out of that. So that's really incredible to hear, and it's good to see that you're on this path of just doing great work. I'm curious, like, when you started watching YouTube and like trying to learn like producing, like, who were some of the people you were watching? Were you just watching tutorials? Were you watching other producers like in beat making videos? Like, how did that whole thing go for you?
Man, it was a really, really random process. Uh, I found I don't know if you're familiar with Ocean Beats on YouTube.
I feel like I've heard the name. Don't know if I know the
So,
channel
so,
though.
so yeah, I would find myself watching his videos, and
Mm.
I'll be with Andrew Wong, and the next thing you know, I'll be with Charlie Puth, and just so on and so on. I can't think. His name is slipping my head right now, but the producer for Juice WRLD, the one that really kind of got him going. He would have these tutorials on YouTube, originally on Twitch, and then he would post the Twitch sessions on YouTube, and I would just rewatch his videos. And for some reason, his name is just slipping my mind, bro. But yeah, that was the process, man. And then eventually from there, I started to realize that a lot of people around me outside of sport, outside of football, were producing, and I started to connect with those friends. I told them what I was doing. So one of my friends, his name is Oski. He kind of really taught me the basics of putting samples together, throwing claps on them, understanding how to tune 808s. And then from there, I met another friend. His name is Jeremy Ware. Those two are some of the best producers I've ever met. They're both located out of Miami. Jeremy just taught me like the recording process of really like how to lay my own vocals, ad libs, and doubles and things like that. And so again, it went from just online and then to building a physical, a tangible community around me.
Yeah. So was the thought process immediately like, I'm going to become an artist and put my own vocals on these, or were you trying to do the whole placement thing with other artists? Like, when did it immediately click that you were going to start being an artist yourself?
Bro, so I guess my process was different, honestly, at the time, I didn't have a name for it, but I knew because of the injury that I was just feeling off, I in hindsight, I was depressed, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't have a name for it at the time. But looking back at it, just going through depression, because for me, I invest so much into the game of football, and at that time, it was a big part of who I was, and it still is, but I've come to realize that that's not all of me, you know what I mean? And I think a lot of athletes, especially student athletes today, like they struggle with that, and they have no other outlet. So I'm thankful that God would give me the opportunity to make music, the resources to make music, and the people around me to do that. So at the time, again, it was just, how can I feel good? How can I feel better? And music was that. I wasn't thinking about placements, wasn't thinking about, being freshman year. I was just a kid, still am in many regards, just a guy with his laptop making beats.
Mm-hmm. And that's kind of where it has to start too, because I always say if you don't actually love what you're doing, then why are you even doing it? You know what I mean? It's no different with that. It's like everyone wants to do music just for the hell of it or for attention and stuff, but it's like if you don't actually love it, you're not going to last that long. So I think the fact that you got into it just from that aspect of really enjoying it, and it was like therapy almost for you in a lot of ways.
That's exactly what it was, bro.
Yeah, that's
and
why
still
I
to
think
this
you're
day.
gonna last a long time. So that's great to hear. So you came out with, I believe it's called Last Semester, right? In November, the EP. So I'm kind of curious to know, what was it like putting that whole thing together, putting together the concept for it, the artwork, all the tracks, like picking each track. Did you have more and had to narrow it down? Like, what was that whole experience like?
No, so again, just this guy making music on his laptop. I didn't really, have a strategic plan, at least, last year, as far as like how I was going to release music. I knew that I had to. I got to a point where I knew I wanted other people to hear my work, you know what I mean? And then again, one of the guys I mentioned, Jeremy, he was like, bro, like, I think you got to put something out, like an EP. And I had never really thought about putting out my own EP. I just, put out a couple singles here and there and share it with my friends and family, honestly. Like, that's like still to this day, like I love, I probably make a song a day. And every day, every other day, like I'll just send one of those out to my friends, and see their faces, or share it with the guys in the locker room and get their reactions. Like that's what I like. But just to go back to that whole process, Jeremy was like, bro, like, what if we just lock in and just put everything together? And the process of that wasn't to record an EP. It was just, we were just making so much music. Honestly, I there's 5 songs on it. Every song was made in one night, maybe like 3-4 hours per song. That's kind of the process. But they weren't consecutive nights. It was let's say that semester we were probably working together maybe 6 weeks, something like that. So like one song a week. Really broke it down to one night, and then we had the songs that were just kind of sitting there. And I ended up transferring. Jeremy also still goes to the University of Miami. I ended up transferring from Miami. I'm in Connecticut. We're still in contact, and he's like, bro, we have all this music from last semester. Like, we should just release it. And I'm like, you're right, bro. Like, what's the point of just sitting on all this great music and just not sharing it with the world? So we did. For me, it was just a natural title. It's just, hey, we made this last semester.
Yeah, I was about to say, that makes total sense. Yeah, it's all from last semester, so that's the title. So
Exactly. And that was, it's kind of a double play on, because that was also my last semester at my previous school too. So it was just a bunch of, play ons.
Yeah. Makes total sense though. So just from hearing like some of the songs or like previews of some of them, I noticed a lot of melodic elements mixed in there, like your vocals and everything. Do you ever think like subconsciously about how you're going to lay out these songs, like even in the songwriting? Is it like you want to go more melodic, or you want to try more rapping, or you don't really care? It's kind of just like everything else. You kind of just go in, and whatever the vibe is, you're just going for that.
Yeah, so specifically for last semester, I want to say 2 of the beats were previously made, and I heard them. Like there's one song on there called Paranoia. Heard it, liked it, laid down my verse. I didn't think too much of it, whatever. And I heard Jeremy's part on it, and then I was like, wow, like, yo, this is fire. Like we're keeping this one. As far as the other ones, a lot of them started off with Jeremy just playing the guitar. He was just start off with a sample, play the guitar. I would probably, come up with something, just kind of like freestyle, humming, and just try to find a flow, a melody, and then we would just create from there. It was just, I don't know, just wherever the creativity led us, really. I try not to go in with a fixed plan, you know what I mean, unless I'm collaborating with others. If I were to go to a studio session with an artist, just because of, there's so many ways it could go, I try to have a plan set out. Oh, hey, like, these are the samples I like. These are the flows I'm thinking about. But if I'm by myself and it's just me, my laptop, bro, like, I don't really care. I'll make anything, Yeah.
Do you envision that probably evolving over time? Like maybe your process might change as the years go on, or you don't really think that far ahead? You're kind of just in now, and you're like, this is what it is now, so we're just going to keep doing that. If it feels good, it feels good.
No. I have been thinking, again, it's all about growing and elevating. And, I think with today's access to the internet, you get to see other music artists' processes. And so there's definitely some things that, I think I can do better as far as just being more efficient. You know what I mean? And I've made probably maybe around the same time I started Block Party, I made a intentional, conscious commitment to release music, and I think in order for me to do that, my workflow has to improve. I don't think it's gonna just look at me playing around on my computer for a couple hours and seeing wherever that goes. I think being more definitive and saying, okay, this is what I want, and then creating what I want. Instead of just letting it go with the flow, as to speak.
Yeah. It's almost like you kind of got to get the best of both worlds, too, because you don't always want to lose that side of it, because that is where, like we said, where it starts at. But then, like, once you get the plan in place, you almost become, like, you kind of just elevate to the next level, because you're more strategic and you know exactly what you got to do when you got to do it. And you still can be creative in that whole process. So yeah, I totally agree with that. I think it's just over the years it changes and evolves, and the more you practice too, it's like it gets easier. You know what I mean? Like you would think like when you start out that it's like pulling teeth, like it's very hard, but then it becomes like second nature almost because you just do it every single day. But yeah, I totally agree with that. So you mentioned Block Party TV. Obviously, we got to talk about that real quick because that was like honestly how we got connected in the first place. The blog, the Instagram page, everything you got going. Talk about what led to that becoming a thing, like, and how long has it even been a thing?
Man, this has been a thing for probably a month, right? And what kind of, again, what kind of led to it, we talked a little bit off the air, but just wanting to build a platform to help small, mostly independent artists succeed. Being a small artist myself, at least for now, I think it is a struggle to find people that are willing to collaborate with you. Especially in a non-competitive manner. I feel like because the market is so saturated, everyone kind of feels like, oh, we have to claw at one another, and if you win, that means I can't win. But I want to build a community where everyone can win, and we can all lean on one another and learn skills and talk about music and our influences and our plans and our strategic strategies and silly things too, like, oh, like, what do you think about these hi-hats, or what do you think about this person's music, like, just build that community, and I think a lot of artists don't have.
What's going on, everyone? Just wanted to take a quick minute out of today's episode to let you guys know about the sponsor for this summer, Kali Audio. Kali Audio has been around since 2018. They've been providing incredible audio products to music creators, producers, artists, pretty much everyone in between. Shout out to Nate Baglios. I actually got in contact with him earlier this year. He's the head of marketing over there, and he hooked me up with some LP8s, which I've been using. Very great audio quality. Really excited to be able to finally have monitors for myself, to be able to create, especially being a producer as well. They're going to come in handy. I really recommend you guys go check them out. That's Kali Audio, KALI audio.com. You'll be able to see their full lineup of products. Very affordable, very great build quality as well. I'm very impressed with the LP8s, so I can imagine the LP6s and all the other monitors are very good quality as well. So go check them out, and just wanted to remind you, we have a giveaway coming at the end of the summer in August, where I'll be giving away a pair of the LP8s to one lucky contestant. And I'm looking forward to, doing that and gifting the great sounds of Kali Audio to someone else, because I think that's a really great thing to have, especially if you don't have monitors or anything. Once again, big shout out to them. Really appreciate them for even getting back in contact with me. So go check them out. But for now, let's get back into the episode. Zach, and I honestly believe that is one of the keys to longevity in music, in my opinion, because that's always been my attitude as well, is just you should be supporting the people that are trying to do what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, that's what we should be doing. But like you said, a lot of people don't have that frame of mind because they're so dead focused on, I got to get it by any means necessary, and if I got to tear people down, so be it. But they're not looking at it from how an artist would look at it, creatively. We got to lift each other up. You know what I mean? That's how we all elevate and get to where we're trying to go. Why would you want to burn bridges with all the people around you? You think they're going to go to the people they work with and put in a good word for you if you're just tearing people down? No. You got to plant the good seeds to get the good growth. You know what I mean? So I think what you're doing is exactly what a lot of artists should do in their own way, obviously, but it's I totally agree with that. I think that a lot of people are just too self-centered to see that vision. But like I said, even before we started recording, keep doing that, man, because that is very important, and that is going to set you apart from a lot of people. And it definitely did in my eyes, because that's really how you caught my attention. So continue doing what you're doing on that aspect. 100%.
Appreciate you, bro. I really do.
Yep. So As far as that, and as you're approaching your career as an artist, how important has social media been? We could talk about Instagram. I don't know if you're on a bunch of different platforms. What has been the most helpful for you as far as growing this whole brand and your career and everything and getting things going?
TikTok, without a doubt, man. I think that is the number one place.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone who's been able to listen to my music, it feels, at least, if they're not friends or family, it feels like, hey, bro, I discovered you on TikTok. I came across one of your funny reels or whatnot. That's just been a cool place, man. I feel like that's like the new wave to find new artists,
Mm-hmm.
and that's an element that I want Block Party to incorporate. Like the easy accessibility to discover new artists. For me, I had a TikTok that kind of blew up. It was honestly just talking about my insecurity as an artist of putting out music. I made this TikTok. I think today I can look. I think it has like 300,000 views, and it was just me, staring at the camera, and I was just pretty much saying, "Hey, I'm overthinking if I should release the 1,000+ songs I recorded in FL." And a bunch of people resonated with that, and a lot of people were like, "Hey, I feel the same way. I have those same insecurities. I don't know if I should release my music. I have so much. I don't know what to do with it." And one thing led to another, and I was able to really connect with a lot of people, and that was a big part of why I started Block Party, because I was able to hear their insecurities, see what they were talking about, what they were going through, and I realized we all need a community.
Yeah. And that's great because that's using the platforms for the right reason, I think. Because a lot of people, like we said before, it's like they're only focused on themselves. They're not really trying to get other people or connect other people or relate to anyone else. It's just like they're only focused on them. But it's like you use that, and then because that was something personal for you, other people saw it and they were like, oh, yeah, I totally resonate with that. Like I'm going through the same thing. And then you just kind of, you know what I mean? Like things just kept building and building. So I think it's just you just got to continue to be genuine through like the social media and stuff, and just use it for. I always say like use the powers for good. You know what I mean? Like you could use it for whatever you want, but it's like if you're using it for the right reasons and you're genuine and you're yourself, which it sounds like you are, and from what I've seen, you're genuinely just being yourself on there. You know what I mean? You're not trying to be anybody that you're not or try and chase attention. You're just being who you are as a creative. And that's why you're seeing results, I think, is because of that. So I definitely think that's important. And social media is just like, it's going to continue to evolve. So as long as people continue to, find the right platforms that work for them and do what they got to do, you can just grow. You can just continue to grow. You know what I mean? So I definitely think that's something that everyone can model after for sure. So I don't know if you
do you have a preference when it comes to like which platform you invest the most time in, or no?
see it is different for everyone, because for me it's always been Instagram, like as far as getting connections and connecting with different artists, and really like how I've grown my audience has been primarily through Instagram. But I try different things. For other people, TikTok is their main thing, you know what I mean, because it has taken off in such a good way, and it's a great way to get on camera, show your face to people, let people know your personality, you know what I mean? And it's just continuing to grow rapidly every day. So I think it's just all in preference, and like what, you're looking to do and everything. I have TikTok. I admittedly don't invest as much time in it as I probably should, you know what I mean? And filming videos and stuff. It takes a lot of work. But I think it's just whatever works best for you. And like I said, as social media evolves and changes, we don't know what platforms are going to exist in 10 years. It could be something else, and we're going to have to go check that out and see what we could do with that, you know what I mean? But I think the best artists and creatives are going to continue to find ways to have success wherever all the people are. So, but
No, 1,000%,
yeah,
bro. 1,000%.
yeah, I think that's just the only thing we can do. I don't know if you have ever thought about this question yet in your career or life or whatever. This has been one I've asked on a few episodes, and it is about your lasting impact Like if someone hears one of your songs or they see you on social media, they see Block Party TV, what do you think you want them to take away from that at the end of the day? Like what would be the final message you would want them to walk away with?
Inspiration, man. If I can define it all in one word, it would be inspiration. I want them to know, hey, like, yo, we watched this guy grind, like, from his bedroom, his dorm room, matter of fact, into, like, one of the most influential people on the planet. Like, I want them to be like, hey, if he did it, then I too can do it. You know what I mean? That's where I want to go with this. That's what Drake did for me. That's what Kanye did for me, Big Sean, and all the other artists that I look up to. I think it's just about being a light of hope, a light of inspiration for that next generation. 10 years from now, I want people to be like, yo, freshman year, like, yo, he wasn't always like that. And that's why I try to be, as vulnerable as I can be, in that whatever season of life I'm in. Yeah. Just to be transparent,
Yeah. That's all you can do, man. You just got to continue to just be yourself and be genuine, and you'll attract the right people for sure. So what is next for you? Could be music, could be things with Block Party. What do you have planned for the summer maybe or the fall?
Yeah, so, I have a couple singles that are probably coming out, honestly, within the next, 2 weeks. I've really just been planning. Again, like I have all this music, but I wanted to, plan and really take a time out to see, okay, what's the best rollout, strategically that I can do. In the next 2 months, I'm going to put out another EP called Late Night. And that's really just, a lot of the thoughts that I have at night, honestly. I put a lot of work into it. I've been able to, this has probably been the most collaborative project, up until this point, working with, several other producers, even just friends. There's a lot of voice memos on the project. I wanted to really just incorporate, the people that I do it for, you know what I mean? Yeah. I wanted this to really be like a family experience. So that's next on the horizon. And as far as Block Party, man, I've been thinking about, interviewing other artists and, to learn from them and see if they could, pay it forward, to the younger generation or to people that are, at a lower level than they are. So we all can learn from each other and see, okay, how can we grow a following? How can we grow in our crafts? How can we train our ears? Just multiple, questions that the artists have. I think a platform like Block Party can really address that in a podcast setting. And, that's why I'm interested in what you're doing. And that's why I asked you, how do you do it? Because, I think that's an avenue we might venture.
Yeah, if you ever have any questions, man, like after this or you want to DM me or anything, I'm happy to answer anything because, like, I think you have a perfect platform for that to be a thing. You know what I mean? Even if you wanted to do just the audio podcast, you could do visuals for the Instagram page. Or you could do all kinds of stuff. The sky's kind of the limit now for podcasting, and I think that what you've created is perfect for being able to set yourself apart. So, yeah, if you have any questions regarding that, man, I'm happy to answer them. So, but I'm looking forward to all that stuff you got coming. That sounds very exciting, especially the EP. I'll be looking out for that for sure because I thought the last semester one was just solid. I'm looking forward to seeing what the next one's going to sound like. So.
Yeah. It's definitely going to sound a little different, man. You know, but I appreciate that.
So, last few questions here. These are questions I ask on every episode. The first one is, if you could go back 10 years ago, give yourself a piece of advice or maybe not change anything at all, what do you think you would do?
Man, I wish I would have found the music earlier. I hear these guys, who started making music when they were in middle school and, sometimes as early as elementary. I wish someone would have, forced me to, sit at a keyboard and learn music theory or, forced me to play a guitar. But again, at the same time, though, I'm not too regretful, because, someone handed me a football and that football changed my life and gave me, the platform to do this, what I'm doing now and to grow in both avenues. So, I would like to say that's what I would change, but at the end of the day, I mean, I'm happy and I'm grateful for where I am,
So I think you kind of answered the other one already, but 10 years from now, where do you think you envision yourself in your life and your career?
Man, 10 years from now, man, I think I'll be done with the league. You know, it's always been a dream of mine to go pro. So I'll be done with the league. I'll be married, and I'll just be traveling the world making music, bro, with friends. You know, literally just traveling the world. I'm not too set on doing live performances, but I would like literally like I want to go to the Maldives, go to Cancun, and just have these trips just with my best of friends and collaborators, and just make music. And I want my family to be a part of that, kind of like our own tour, but like as a lifestyle, kind of deal, and just release my music to my fans, bro. And I want to be legendary at that point.
Absolutely, man. Do you have any final words of wisdom today for the listeners?
Stop telling yourself you can't, man. There's so many resources out there today that won't necessarily fully help you figure everything out, but gives you a start, so that you can meet people that can, help you with the extra, 20-30% that's left. A perfect example of that is myself with the music. It's like I don't know how to make music. That's for really smart people and people who understand, algorithms and music theory. But bro, you start YouTubing and Google, all of it is possible, man. And not just to music, but life, bro. If you're whatever you're dealing with, there's always a solution. Whatever you're going through mentally, there's a solution. Whatever you're fighting with that nobody knows about, there's a solution, man. There are answers out there, but it's on you to seek out the answers. And if you need help, admit that, bro. There's so many people out there that would love to help you whatever you're going through, but you have to take the first step and letting it be known.
Man, couldn't have said it better myself, man. Absolutely. So that was Freshman Year, everybody. Man, I appreciate you for joining me this week. Sorry about the delay again, but man, this was a great episode. I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to everything you have coming up this summer. Like I said, I'm gonna stay tuned with Block Party TV and yourself as an artist, and just see what you got coming up, man. Because you've inspired me, honestly, just what you're doing, and I genuinely wish you nothing but success moving forward. And hopefully we could do like a part 2 of this eventually. We'll see, but I'm looking forward to everything you got in the works, man. So keep up the good work.
Bro, appreciate you, brother. Thank you, man.
Thanks, guys, for listening today. That was episode 102. We'll be back this time next week. As always, hit the support button on your podcast streaming platform if you'd like to send any funds. And feel free to leave us that 5-star rating if you enjoyed today's episode. So we'll see you then. Thanks, guys.